are going to get right into our yin yoga practice. We will start in Savasana, setting our intentions for our practice today. Savasana can also be called corpse pose, just relaxing into a meditation. Focus on what you want to bring into your life and what you are needing to let go of in order to allow room for what it is that you want in your life. We'll remain in the Savasana for about a minute while setting our intentions. And then we will prepare to do 5 deep belly breaths. Hands on your tummy like you are filling a balloon with air, or you're 9 months pregnant, or maybe you just swallowed a basketball. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth 5 times. And now we will continue in Savasana for another minute. Just surrendering to your practice. Put aside everything from your mind's eye, from the day, from the week, from the year. Just focus on here and now in your yoga practice. Slowly rotate your head and your neck to the right side, looking over your right shoulder, and then back to neutral, and then over the left shoulder, and then back to neutral. And now we're going to stretch out long, hands overhead, pointing your toes, and then hug your right knee for several breaths. While you're hugging your knee, you might want to engage that foot, flexing your heel, rotating the ankle, pointing your toes. Continuing to hug that knee, paying close attention to the micro movements and the compression in your right hip socket. Then we're going to reach for the canvas strap and get that to go across the ball of your foot. Straighten out that right leg, holding the strap. You can pull that leg just a little closer to your chest and hold there. You can straighten that leg, you can bend it a little, you can do a little bit of both. And then we're going to swing that leg out to the right side with or without the strap. We're going to be in this half straddle for about a half a minute. Then you're going to set your strap aside, lowering your right leg back down to the mat. Switching your legs, hug in your left knee tightly. Again, you might want to engage that foot and ankle, flexing and pointing your toes, rotating your ankle, hugging your left knee tight. And again, paying attention to the micro movements and focusing on the compression in your left hip socket. And then get your strap and place it across the ball of your left foot, straightening out that leg and hold it there. Again, you can bend the knee slightly or keep it straight or a little bit of both. Pull that leg just a little closer to your chest and then hold. And then we're going to swing that left leg out for the half straddle with or without your strap. This is a big stretch in your thigh muscle. Just getting warmed up. And then you can set your strap aside, lowering the left leg back down to the mat. Both legs are out straight, stretching out long, arms are overhead. Hug both of your knees tightly. Continue holding your right knee as you lower the left leg back down to the mat. Then you're going to place that right knee on the floor on the left side of your body, maybe using a pillow or a bolster. We're going to get into the supine twist. Arms are in a T. Stay in the supine twist for about a minute, keeping your drishti over your right fingertips. You have the option to use your left hand to apply a light pressure to your right knee at any point if you wish. Just enjoy the supine twist. And then you're going to slowly turn your head to look over the left shoulder for 2 full breaths. Then slowly turning the head and neck back to be looking out over the right shoulder again. And then back to neutral. Lower that right leg back down to the floor. Hug in both of your knees together. Head and neck towards the knees, rocking and rolling. And then lower your right leg back down to the floor while continuing to hug your left knee tightly. And now we're going to bring that left knee across the body to place it on the floor on the right side for the supine twist to the other side. Again, you might want to use a bolster or a pillow. Arms are in a T. We're going to hold this for about a minute, keeping your gaze out over your left fingertips. Using your right hand, you can apply that light pressure to the left knee at any point. Just relaxing into the supine twist on the other side. And then slowly you're going to turn your head to look out over your right shoulder. Hold your head there for 2 full breaths. And then turning your head back to look over the left shoulder again. And then back to neutral. We'll lower the left leg back down to the floor, coming out of the supine twist. Then hug both knees again, stretching the neck, rotating both ankles and feet, flexing the heels, pointing your toes. And then we're going to get into the reclined butterfly. You may want a bolster under your knees. You're going to have your arms down by your sides, again surrendering to your practice, and then slowly gliding your arms across the floor, over your head, like butterfly wings, into a steeple grip. We're going to hold it there. Maintaining that steeple grip. And then gliding your arms back down to your sides, again like butterfly wings. Your hands or your palms are facing up. And then slowly we're going to bring the arms back up into that half moon arch once again, touching the fingertips to each other over your head in prayer hands. And with your arms outstretched, fingers and thumbs touching, we're going to stay in the butterfly pose for another breath. If you have a bolster, you might want to remove it at this point. And then we're going to do reclined tree pose on each side. So first, straighten out your left leg, keeping the sole of your right foot against the inseam of your inner left thigh. Keeping those prayer hands overhead. Hold it there for a couple more breaths. And then we're going to simply switch sides by straightening out the right leg and placing the sole of your left foot to the inseam of your right thigh. Arms are still in prayer hands overhead, or if you would like, you can choose to branch your arms out, goalpost, steeple grip, yogi's choice. Then reach for your strap. We're going to get it across the balls of both feet for legs up the wall. Knees can be straight or bent slightly. You can pedal your knees out one at a time. You can rock, you can roll, you can wiggle, anything you wish. Continue to keep your left foot in the strap on the ball of your foot, and take your right foot and place it across your left thigh for reclined pigeon. We're going to hold this for about a minute. Bending the left knee slightly is an option, or keeping it straightened, or some of each, straightening and bending it. Whatever it is your body is telling you that it needs. And then we're going to switch out our feet. Get your right foot back into that strap and remove your left foot, placing the left foot across your right thigh for the reclining pigeon on the other side. Again, you have the option to bend the knee, straighten it, or both. Then you can set the strap aside and lay flat. We're going to do 3 honey bumblebee breaths with our 3 fingers on our eyes closed, thumbs on the ear cartilage, pressing your thumbs down on that tragus, closing off the airway to your ears, breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. We're going to hum low pitch as we breathe out 3 times. And after that, we're going to turn ourselves over, slowly turning to the left or to the right, flipping yourself over to lay prone on your front side. You can rest your forehead on your hands, laying lightly on top of each other as we prepare to do another supine twist. Come up onto your elbows and forearms into Sphinx. Then hiking up your right knee with your right arm out in front of you. You can use your left arm to thread the needle, making any adjustments for this pose that you need as you get into the supine twist once again. You can simply place your right hand onto your right hip, or you can straighten out that right arm, trying to lay it flat on the ground with both shoulders flat. Or you can just keep that right hand on the right hip. Again, at any point, you can use your left hand to apply a slight pressure to your right knee, keeping your gaze out over your right shoulder or fingertips. Feel the difference from the last supine twist, having gotten into this pose from an entirely different sequence of prompts and directives. Also, notice the similarities along with those differences. Again, just enjoy the supine twist and relax into it. When you're ready to come out of the twist, you can rest your head on your hands again, laying them on top of one another for several breaths. And then bend the knees, and you can windshield wiper glide your feet and calves back and forth before coming up onto your forearms and elbows and hands into that Sphinx pose again. And then hiking your left knee up to the left side with your left arm out in front of you. Thread your right arm through the needle. Then you can place your left hand on your left hip, same as the other side. You can adjust yourself so that both shoulders and arms are flat on the ground in a T, or simply keep your left hand on your left hip. Option again to apply that light pressure with the right hand if you wish on your left knee, keeping your drishti over your left shoulder. Again, just enjoy the stretch. Notice the similarities and the differences from the last time you were in the supine twist a few minutes earlier, as well as noticing side to side the differences and the similarities. Paying attention to the micro movements. When you are done, come out of that twist, rest your head on your hands, again, atop of one another. This time in an exaggerated motion, really windshield wiper those feet and knees, loosening the hips out. Then lower those feet to the ground. Send your hips back towards your feet, getting into a wide knee child pose. You can use a block or bolster or pillow to rest your head or torso on. We're going to hold this position for a full minute, really relaxing the torso, ragdolling the upper portion of your body, allowing gravity to do the work for you. Just relax into it. Lean into it. When you're done, remove the prop if you have one, and then we're going to come into a tabletop as we again get back into Sphinx on the elbows and forearms again. This time spreading your hands and your fingers out as wide as you can, holding that Sphinx pose tall. And then turning your right forearm to be parallel with the top of your mat. Reach back with your left hand to hold your left foot. We're going to hold this half bow for several breaths. You have an option here to try a full bow, or you can stay in the half bow. If you'd like to try the full bow, there's different ways to do it. You might want to let go of that left foot and reach your right hand back to the right foot, and then getting your left foot back in your left hand again. If you have someone to spot you, you can ask for assistance, or you can also use the strap if you want to experiment with trying to hold both of your feet in both of your hands, if possible. Some people can do this, some people can't. Do what your body needs and what you're comfortable with. The last thing you want to do is overextend yourself. Then when you are letting go of one or both of your feet, again, rest your head on your hands on top of one another. Again, windshield wipering the feet out, loosening the hips again, and then lowering the feet back down to the floor. And then the same thing on the other side. Come into Sphinx, spreading your hands and fingers out as wide as you can, sitting tall, and then turning your left forearm to be parallel with the top of your mat. Reaching with your right hand back to hold your right foot. Engaging in this half bow for several breaths. And then just like on the other side, you can attempt the full bow if it's in your practice. Again, use your strap, have a partner spot you, or what I often do is let go of my right foot to then get my left foot with my left hand, and then get my right foot back into my right hand. And then getting into that full bow, you can practice breathing so you're kind of like a rocking horse with your diaphragm pressing onto the floor as you inhale and exhale. You could also choose to try to remain still. Different variations. Yogi's choice, or mix it up, a little bit of both. This is a really good stretch if it works for you. If it doesn't, don't sweat it. Then when letting go of one or both of your feet will go back down to the mat. Again, we're going to send our hips back to our feet into the child's pose. Sitting on the feet, you can rest your head on a block. We're going to be here for a minute. Again, ragdoll your torso. Really lean into it. Surrender to gravity. And then we're going to walk our fingertips or slide the hands to the right edge of the mat, reaching for that right corner of the mat. Feeling the stretch across your lower left ribs. And then walk or slide your fingers back to neutral. And then slide or walk your hands and fingers to the left side of the mat, reaching for that left corner. Focus on the extension in the lower right ribs. Holding here for a couple of breaths before then gliding fingers and hands back to neutral. And then we're going to come up into lightning bolt pose, just sitting on our feet. It looks like an easy pose, but it can be very challenging for many. So we're just going to pause here for a few moments. Hands on the thighs. You may want blocks or other props to attempt a camel pose, coming up onto your knees and then reaching your hands back to your feet or ankles. As we come out of this shape, we'll get our legs around in front of us for staff pose. Begin stacking pillows and props on top of your legs so that you can ragdoll the upper portion of your body over your thighs, resting your torso on the props. Alternatively, you can use the strap on the balls of your feet for the same type of effect here. We're gonna hold this for an extended period. Really lean into it. Envision tilting your hips towards your feet, towards your toes. Again, allow gravity to do the work for you. As you focus on easing your weight forward, trusting that gravitational pull to completely support you. As we get into this stretch, extended time frames, it's sort of like peeling an onion and you just get into it deeper. Sometimes you want to pull back slightly, but you want to shift around, go with the flow. No reason to remain still. If you want to be still, then be still. If you want to wiggle, make adjustments, by all means do so. Whatever is the most comforting to you physically and mentally. Trust that gravitational pull to completely support you and keep you safe and give you exactly what it is that you need. Really lean into it. When you hold these poses for an extended period, what you're doing is you're allowing the oxygen to get into your muscles and your bloodstream, really cleanse out your lactic acid fermentation and all of the other toxins from your body. It's really good for your lymphatic system as well. Then as we finish up with this, we'll remove the props. Keep the left leg stretched out long and bring the right foot to the inseam of the left thigh. Reaching for the left toes, hold for several breaths. Again, really lean into it. You might have your left toes in your left hand. You might have your left toes in both hands. And then we're going to come up to neutral, get into a wide straddle stretch, lean forward for a couple of breaths. And then switch it out to the other side. Left foot to the inner right thigh, straightening out the right leg and reaching for those right toes. And then coming back to neutral, stretching both legs out into the wide straddle again. Leaning forward, reaching out in front of you. You might want to rest your forehead on a couple of blocks stacked up. We're going to hold here for several breaths. Relaxing into it. And then we're going to come into a seated butterfly, holding the soles of the feet together with both hands, pushing knees down towards the floor, bending your neck and head towards your feet, before then rising your head slowly up to neutral. We're going to twist our head from side to side, first to the right, and then back to neutral, then to the left, and then back to neutral. Stretch the neck down, rolling it out in small movements first. You can twist your head back and forth like you're indicating a no. You can nod your head up and down as if acknowledging a yes. If you're comfortable with it, you can do a full circle rotation to one side and then a full circle rotation in the other direction. Then we're going to bring the head up to neutral before shifting into easy pose. Once we're in easy pose, drop your right ear to your right shoulder. You have the option here to use a light pressure with your right fingertips on the top of your head. If you wish, you can move the head slightly back and forth to massage out those neck muscles. And then letting go, head and neck are back to neutral. Then drop your left ear to your left shoulder. And again, that slight pressure with your left fingertips if you wish. And again, sliding the head and neck slightly back and forth if you would like for extra massage on those neck muscles. And then back to neutral. Again, turn your head slowly from side to side, looking out over the right shoulder, then neutral, and then to the left, and back to neutral. And now we're going to bring ourselves again into the wide straddle, leaning forward. You'll probably want to use the blocks in front of you to rest your forehead on again, as we will be here for an extended period. Again, allow gravity to do the work for you. Surrender to your practice. Surrender to gravity. Lean into it. Then you can pick up a block in each of your hands, reach over the left foot, placing each of those blocks onto either side of your left foot to rest your hands on them, or you can reach for your toes, or or a little bit of both. We're going to hold there. Again, surrendering to gravity. Allow gravity to do its magic for you. Then pick up the blocks and place them on either side of your right foot, reaching for your toes or resting your hands on each of the blocks. Hold it there. Letting go, leaning into it, allowing gravity to work its wonders. Coming up to neutral, our next pose will be bending our right knee over our left leg extended out straight, twisting to the right, gazing to the back of the room. The right hand or fist is on the floor behind you, arm supporting the torso. Using your left elbow to leverage on your right knee. Enjoy this awesome twist. As you continue to look to that rear wall. And continue leveraging your left elbow on your right knee. Paying attention to your posture, your shoulders. Slowly turn your head and neck to be looking out over your left shoulder. And then again, slowly returning your head and neck to be gazing towards the back of the room once again. All while continuing to leverage that left elbow on the right knee. And then as we come out of this twist, we will simply switch sides. Bend the left knee over the right leg. Right leg is extending out straight. Use the left hand or fist on the floor behind you, gazing over your left shoulder towards the back of the room, leveraging your right elbow against the left knee. Again, pay attention to your posture, your shoulders. Really enjoy the power of this twist. All the while leveraging with your right elbow on your left knee. Keeping your gaze over your left shoulder towards the back of the room before slowly turning your head and neck to be gazing over your right shoulder towards the front of the room. And then slowly returning your drishti to the back of the room over your left shoulder once again. Continuing leveraging the right elbow on the left knee. And then back to neutral, and we'll come into butterfly, holding the feet together, pressing the knees towards the floor, bending the head and neck forward, and then imagining that there's a string being pulled from above, from the top of your head, coming up with perfect posture, and then turning the head to the right, looking over the right shoulder, and then back to neutral, then to the left, looking over the left shoulder, and then back to neutral. And now we're going to get into cow face, preparing for Lord of the Fish. We're going to bend the right knee over the left knee that's also bent, stacking them on top of one another. Holding each of your feet in each of your hands. You can sit up tall, you can lean forward. And then we're going to twist to the right with the right arm in back. The left elbow leverages against that right knee, looking to the back of the room. Enjoy this Lord of the Fish. I really appreciate your posture in this twist. Then we're going to slowly turn the head to look over the opposite shoulder. And then slowly back again. And then we're going to straighten out both legs for staff pose. Reaching the arms out wide to the sides and then arching them in half moon up towards the sky, interlacing your fingers and turning both hands outward and reaching tall. And then bending forward, reaching for your toes. And then come up to neutral, preparing to switch legs for cow face on the other side. The left knee over the right bent knee, holding both feet, sitting tall or leaning forward, before then twisting to the left, right arm leveraging against the left knee, looking over the left shoulder to the back of the room. Really appreciate this twist. And then turning the gaze to the opposite side, looking over your right shoulder, slowly returning the gaze to be looking out over the left shoulder once again, and then head back to neutral. Coming out of this twist, we'll return to staff pose, reaching arms out wide to the sides with your legs out in front of you again, making that half moon arch, touching the hands lightly overhead to prayer hands before then reaching for your toes. And as you come up to neutral, transition into easy pose. We're going to reach our arms out to the sides, arching them up for the half moon, touching the hands together for prayer hands before getting into cactus arms, preparing for eagle arms. So from cactus or goalposts, we'll bring our elbows together with the right elbow over the left elbow. Hands are together, pushing the elbows slightly up, bending the head and neck slightly down. Feel that stretch across your neck and shoulders. And then slowly you can move your arms and head and neck up to be looking towards the ceiling, leaning your head slightly back while pushing your eagle arms towards the sky until you unpretzel them, reaching your arms back out wide, bringing them down and then arching them back up into another half moon, touching those hands together overhead for prayer hands, and then back to cactus. And again, eagle arms with the left elbow over the right elbow this time, pushing the elbows up slightly and bending the head and neck down slightly. Enjoying that tension releasing on your neck and across your shoulder blades. And then slowly looking up and moving your arms up, looking towards the ceiling as high as possible, leaning your head slightly back and reaching your eagle arms towards the sky until you unpretzel your arms again, and then stretching those arms out wide to the sides and bringing them down to the ground, then reaching back out and up into another half moon arch to steeple grip, sitting tall. And then we're going to do a simple twist to each side. First to the right, bring your hands down to your right hand behind you, your left hand on your right knee for a nice simple twist. And then coming back to neutral and arms back into steeple grip. Before then twisting to the left, lowering the left hand to the floor behind you and the right hand to your left knee for another light twist. Before coming back to neutral. And then we're going to lay down on your back. Plant both of your feet onto the floor. Knees are bent. You'll probably want to hold a block or a pillow in between your knees and maybe another one on each side of you. Allow your knees to fall to the right. We're going to hold this stretch for about a minute with arms in a T, focusing the gaze out over the left fingertips. Just a nice, simple, easy stretch. Sometimes the simple ones are the best ones. slowly rotate your head to look out over the right shoulder. And then slowly rotate your head and neck to be looking over your left shoulder again. And then back to neutral. Bring your knees to neutral before then allowing the knees to fall to the left. Still with the arms in a T, gazing out over your right fingertips. Then we're going to slowly turn the head to look over your left shoulder, setting your gaze over your left fingertips before slowly turning back to be looking over your right shoulder again, over the right fingertips, and then back to neutral. Knees back to neutral. Remove the props, hugging in both knees, bending the head and neck. Engage your feet, flexing your heels, pointing your toes, twisting and rotating your ankles. And then plant both feet firmly on the mat again. Put your right knee over your left knee and allow your legs to fall to your right. Arms are in a T, gaze is out over your left fingertips. This is my all-time favorite of all of these twists that I love so much. This one just really does it for me. Then you can undo your knees as you bring them up to neutral, hugging them into your chest, rocking and rolling. Then firmly planting your feet on the mat again, preparing for the other side, the left knee over the right knee, allowing the legs to fall to the left side. Arms are in a T with your gaze over your right fingertips. Enjoy this final twist. Release your knees, coming back to neutral. Hugging in both knees again, one more time, rocking and rolling. And then if you would like to, if it's in your practice, you have the option here for the happy baby. If you choose not to engage in happy baby. You can do whatever stretching your body is asking for, or you're welcome to just meet us in the next pose, which will be the supported bridge. So if you're in happy baby, you might want to rock the baby, alternating, straightening, and slightly bending one knee at a time. Just moving with it. And then as we come out of that form, we'll lay flat and then reach for a block for supported bridge. Plant the feet firmly on the mat, lift the hips, and slide the block under the small of your back on its lowest level. We'll remain in supported bridge for a full minute. Just releasing on the small of your back. Again, allow gravity to do its magic for you. And while still on the block, you can reach for your strap, or without the strap, if you like. We're going to get into the legs up the wall and hold that for another minute. And now coming out of the legs up the wall, you can set the strap aside and remove the block. Again, if it's in your practice, there's an option here for a shoulder stand and the plow. Take a minute or two to do these, or yogi's choice, any stretch that you like, that you feel that you need to do before getting into Savasana, or you can get into the corpse pose early and we will meet you there. Should you be in a shoulder stand, you might want to point your toes tall, maybe scissoring your legs long, or any movements that you're inclined to do. Maybe bending one knee and then straightening that knee and bending the other knee, straightening that knee. And then as we come out of this pose, we'll be transitioning into the plow. And if you are in the plow, as you're coming out of that pose, when you bring yourself down flat to the mat, you're going to go as slow and controlled as possible with your chin tucked, one vertebrae at a time, rolling yourself down to the floor to relax into the Savasana corpse pose for 3 full minutes. Once there, remember the intentions that you set at the beginning of this practice. Thank yourself for taking the time out of your day to focus on yourself and your well-being. The body is the temple of the soul. So important to take care of that temple. Keep your temple in order. How do you see yourself making this transition in your life to acquire more of what it is you want in your life and to eliminate what it is that you want to let go of in order to make room for that? How do you envision that happening? Every little bit helps. Think of what you can do in this moment. Think of what you can do later on. And just your intention is enough. You don't have to do anything. Focus your intent and the rest will follow. As you bring your awareness back into your body and into the room, you can either roll to one side or the other and rest there before you slowly push yourself up. Or if it's comfortable, there's the option to slightly with your chin tucked and coming up onto your elbows, slightly rocking yourself, straightening your arms out behind you and transitioning into easy pose. Or if you're on one side or the other, just slowly push yourself up and we will meet in easy pose. Once there, place your left hand on the right knee, the right hand on the floor behind you for a nice light twist to the right. Crossing your right arm over your left arm, right hand onto the left knee, crossing your arms, and then reaching your left hand behind you for another nice light twist to the left. Then crossing that left arm over the right arm again, lightly hugging yourself in this basket shape. And then you will come into the easy pose with one hand on each knee. That would be your left hand on your left knee, your right hand is on your right knee, touching the pointer fingers to the thumbs. We're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, and we're going to chant Om 3 times in a low pitch. then stretch those arms out wide again for another half moon arch, bringing the arms up overhead to prayer hands. And then to acknowledge your insight and wisdom, touch your thumbs or knuckles to your third eye on the way to hands over heart. Reaching the arms out wide one last time for one last half moon arch. Prayer hands overhead. Slowly lowering the prayer hands over heart, and then bowing to close and seal the practice. And so it is. I thank you for practicing with me today. Be well and